Welcome. We are going to discuss listening to others. So yesterday we talked about listening to ourselves, and today's session is going to be a combination of a bit of both of them. And I'm going to do a lot less talking today. So I think listening to others is really important right now with the way that the world is going on. I don't like to comment on political situations that much, but it's clear that people's needs are not being met, that people are not aware of how to educate, are not aware of how to communicate, or possibly are not educated, or whatever reason. There's just a lot of awful, non-compassionate things happening around in the world, and listening is a huge skill that can dissipate lots of situations. And I'm saying this from experience as, a group therapist, as a mediator for people who'd committed crimes, with perpetrators and victims sitting them in a room and giving both parties a chance to speak and to be heard. It's a very, very powerful tool that I think is something that a lot of people don't have, especially in this world of distractions, and that's very important to explore. And that is what we'll be doing today. So, as I've said before, we're going to go pretty much straight into the meditation, but make any adjustments to the body that we need to make. I've literally gotten out of bed like 25 minutes ago, so I'm pretty creaky. Maybe rolling the shoulders. And by the way, these twisting motions are really good for anxiety. If you're standing up, you can do like this thing. It's my favorite, but any kind of twist. I don't know, it's like squeezing something. So maybe it pops the thoughts out of your head. I don't know. So rolling the shoulders or rolling the neck. So whatever we need to do to get ready to listen today. And find your meditation stance. I don't care what it is. It can be even standing. But the most important thing is that it's a long spine. So it's taken me years of training to sit like this and to have a straight back. I by no means expect everybody to sit like that. So lie down on the back. We want it long. We want it comfortable so that we can explore and open up our minds. So it doesn't matter. As long as we're not like this, slunched over, with the shoulders back. We want an open chest, a long spine. So lying down is the perfect way to do that. Closing the eyes, or holding a soft gaze where we're not focusing on anything. Taking a moment to arrive in this space, so listening to what's happening in the space around us. No judgment, there is no irritating sound, there's no good sound, there's no bad sound, it just is. Bring your awareness to your open space. Somewhere that's high up, perhaps overlooking a sea, overlooking other mountains, maybe even a town, body of water. Grounding yourself in this space, listening to the sounds around, smelling any smells, reminding ourselves that this is a place of non-judgment, where we're allowed to think the craziest things, new perspectives. Nobody's here, nobody's listening to us right now. We're not judging ourselves, and neither is anybody else. taking deep breaths as we inhale, and as we did yesterday, if you'd like to place your hand on the belly and the hand on the chest. As we inhale, trying to push the hand away from the spine. Exhaling, let it fall in. Be careful not to collapse the long spine that we have, for the energy to flow, for the breath to fill up through the body. Starting to breathe in this white light of compassion, of openness. Exhaling a black cloud of smoke with unpleasant thoughts, disturbing thoughts. Any scenarios rattling around in our head that we want to let go of. And as we inhale, we want to fill the body with this white light, so really breathe as deeply as we possibly can. Maybe even holding it at the top as we exhale, so blowing all of this ickiness away. Pausing at the bottom, releasing, making space to inhale. Beautiful white light of compassion, of openness, of new skills, of new perspectives. And if it helps to exhale through the mouth at this time, just pushing away those thoughts, please feel free to do so. And before I recite the 4 measurables today, we're going to do a little exercise to invite the compassion of all those. So we're inviting the figures of the people within our space, but not the actual people, in order to fill it with compassion. And so for the right and the left side, we need to think of somebody who's very close to us, possibly a parent, possibly a grandparent, possibly an aunt or uncle, or somebody that made us feel safe or secure during childhood. Absolutely aware that there may not have been anybody like that for you. Possibly it was a pet, or somebody, family friend, or somebody in adult years you felt safe with. Imagining one of those beings on your right side, another on your left side. And in front of us are all of these people that annoy us, irritate us, the enemies, or from a Buddhist perspective, the greatest teachers that we have. Non-judgment. They simply irritate us. Let them stand in front of us and give us new lessons. And behind us are all of the family and friends, the loved ones, any religious figures or higher powers we believe in, ready to catch us when we fall. And as I recite the 4 immeasurables which generate compassion, I want you to imagine all of these people and giving the compassion to all of the people in equal amounts. May all beings have happiness and the cause of happiness. May they be free of suffering and the cause of suffering. May they never be dissociated from the supreme happiness, which is without suffering. May they remain in boundless equanimity, free from attachment to close ones and rejection of others. Bringing awareness back to the space and how it's filled with this compassion for all beings, including ourselves. And taking a moment to listen to the body. In order to listen to others, we need to know what's going on inside of our heads and our bodies. So let's first focus on the body. Is the breathing, has that become shallow again? Are we still taking the deep breaths? Do we have any aches or pains or places of tension? Today my chest feels very tight. Maybe it's the shoulders, maybe the lower back, maybe somewhere in the hip area. Being aware, it's okay. We're humans, we're allowed to have these emotions, these feelings. Any signs of tension or anger will be felt in the body. Any signs of joy and happiness are felt in the body when we relax. If we're able to relax those parts of the body through the breath, then great. If not, then that's how it is today. Bringing awareness to the mind. What's spinning around in the mind this morning? Maybe nothing. Rejoice in that. And if you did the meditation yesterday, maybe noticing if the spinning of the mind is the same as yesterday, perhaps the conclusion that you came to, you can resolve again in your head. We're not going to spend that much time right now on this conclusion, but it's important to be aware of it, so we're aware. We don't need to do something about everything that happens in life. Sometimes awareness is enough. And just sitting with it. So with the conclusion of what's going on in our own mind, either saying, I need to do more analysis, or perhaps a theme, and just repeating that theme without needing to do something about it. Bearing in mind that we just took a moment to listen to ourselves, let's analyze why it is important to listen to others. I have an aunt, and those of you who are watching that may know her, you'll know exactly who I'm talking about, but she makes people feel like they're her favorite. So I'm her favorite. When my sister talks to her, she's her favorite. When my cousin talks to her, that she's her favorite. And the thing that I love about that is that I don't care, and I firmly believe that all of us are her favorites in a certain way. And it is such a beautiful feeling. And oftentimes when I'm really upset, I call her to get this feeling. And the reason why she is like that is because she listens. And she listens with all of her heart, and it's very powerful to feel listened to. So that's one reason why it's important. Another reason might be because we can learn something new from the person. Perhaps a new perspective, a new way of doing something. Listening to others, we can offer compassion. If we're not listening, then we can't possibly offer compassion. Prevents misunderstanding. If we're half listening to somebody in front of us and half listening to the little monkey mind that's saying, okay, so after work I need to go to the shops and get this, and this, and I have to call that person. We're not really listening. So we only hear a little bit of what the person in front of us is saying, which can cause misunderstandings. And along with that, it can improve communication in relationships. And it helps us to allow to be in the present moment, in the focus, which it creates happiness for the other person because they're being listened to, but it also helps us be happy because when we're in this present moment listening to this person in front of us, we're not focusing on our own crap that's inside of us, So now that we've come to some conclusions about why it's important to listen to others, I want you to make any adjustments that you might need to make from the body if you're not already doing so on your own. And think of a time when you didn't listen to someone, or you wish you would have listened to something you were listening to on the radio, perhaps a course, perhaps my meditation sessions. You tried so hard to listen and it wasn't working. And bearing in mind that this is a completely natural and normal thing, that it's nothing bad, that it's nothing wrong, that it's part of human nature to be distracted, that the mind is best at distracting us at whatever current task we're doing. Thinking of this situation, what is it that you needed in order to listen to somebody? And maybe you don't know what you need. That's okay too. So perhaps before you came into this situation, you needed to write something down or send somebody a message or put the phone away. Finish reading that book, finish the project. I find it curious that people think of when somebody's late, that it's a disrespect on them. I see it a different way because I'm often late. It depends what it's for, but I try to be on time. But sometimes I'm in the middle of something, and if I don't finish, then I'm going to sit the whole hour or 3 hours or day with that person thinking, I wish I would have finished that. So I'm actually giving them more respect by finishing that task, letting them know I'm going to be late, and then being present with them. So perhaps that's what you needed. Perhaps what you need to do in order to listen is let go of some of these societal rules and norms and develop your own that help you feel good and that help you be present. Remember, this safe space there's no cultural norms here that we have in our mind. There are norms that help us to feel happy, to help us generate compassion for other people, that help us be better humans. So the next question after what you need is, are you available to listen right now? And if no, that's okay. Explain it to that person in whatever way possible, but it's okay. When I was a group therapist, we worked with another colleague and we would kind of update each other on how things were. And sometimes I'd say I'm having a bad day and I'm really not able to focus today. I mean, for a job, that was my job, was listening. But I mean, if I could have exercised my right to I'm not available to listen today, it probably would have worked about 75% of the time. But when it's with friends and loved ones, I think it's very important that we are present and listening. So coming back to this distraction about what we need to do in order to listen to somebody else. I mentioned it earlier, but place all of the distractions away. Place the phone away. And mentally place whatever tasks that you need to do later or that you were doing before. Mentally place them away. Okay, if we need to write it down because we've forgotten what we're doing and we're afraid of that, like that's my issue, my memory is shocking, then do that. I'd always have a notebook to write things down on my phone, on my little notepad. Place the distractions away, even sometimes just saying, now is the time to listen, now is the time that I'm with so-and-so. And nothing else matters. I can pick it up afterwards. And people say this is impossible, and I just laugh because I didn't get a phone until I was 21. So, we used to be doing this a lot. Now with this situation, if it's somebody that you were talking to and you didn't listen to, perhaps ask for clarification. It's completely normal for the mind, and I would do that in groups as well. I'm sorry I didn't catch that, and it was mostly because I heard that they were talking, and they were talking clearly, but my mind was like dinner time or the fight with the boyfriend or whatever was happening. I didn't quite catch that. Can you repeat that? And that allows you back to the present, and it helps that person understand that you are there, that you're listening. Instead of thinking of what to say next or what you have to do next, listen with full attention. Wait until they've finished a sentence to think about how to respond, or the story. And before you take your turn in the conversation, take a deep breath. Conscious deep breath. And then perhaps they hadn't finished what they were saying, so by the time if you're still breathing and they have something else to say, then step back and listen again. One of my lovely friends was incredibly honest and said that she doesn't listen to people because she's so involved in her head about what she wants to talk about next. And the awareness that she has about that is great, and the honesty, because she would say to me quite regularly, I wasn't listening to anything you were saying because I wanted to say this. And that's an issue, that's an issue to explore. Why do you feel like that? That's a topic for a different meditation, perhaps the conclusion from this meditation. Is that why do I feel like my voice is more important, or that, that I'm anxious, that I feel like I have to talk instead of listen to other people? And a little tip, because it's hard to see people in person at the moment, but it's for phone conversations or Zoom calls or whatever it is, before you answer the call, take in a deep breath, 3 deep breaths. So it's ringing in your hand. Don't go, hello. If it's ringing in your hand, you're probably looking at something or replying to somebody. So just take 2 deep breaths. Close your eyes, let go of whatever you were doing on your phone, and then answer with a smile. And it's incredible, the power of that. I mean, when I first heard that, I did it, and it's incredible, the difference. And of course, I've forgotten until I prepared for this meditation, but it does really make a huge difference about your presence and awareness and how you respond. Maybe I should have that on my phone, taped. Deep breath. And coming back to this situation where you weren't listening to somebody or something you were listening to, imagine using one of these techniques. And for the next couple of moments, imagine one of these techniques. So perhaps it was even just having the phone away, maybe it's normally on the table, but imagine it's in the bag and that you're listening to what this person is saying. At that moment in time, the most important person or people are the ones you are with. And the most important job that you have to do is to listen to them. And through this, you are offering compassion. You are making somebody happy, which in turn is making you feel happy. Buddhists believe that other people are tools to happiness. So without this opportunity to create compassion, without this opportunity to express compassion and to give and to express loving kindness, we could never sense happiness. We can never reach enlightenment. So let's really gather with, this beautiful resource of the human race and listen and give them compassion. And let's strive to be like my aunt, who's completely present in the moment, or an incredible actress, but it's so genuine, it's real. Make that person in front of you feel as if though you are their favorite person. And finding a conclusion to this meditation, perhaps there's a question that I offered that you want to do some more analysis on. Perhaps there's a conclusion that I need to work on why I don't listen. Sit with that conclusion. Don't start thinking of ways of how to change it. Just sit with it. Be aware of it. Taking out the rucksack, placing a tool from today's session into the rucksack. Reminding ourselves that at any time we can come back and get the tool again. Throughout the day we can sit for 30 seconds. Yes, I remember that. Maybe it allows us enough time to catch our breath, to listen to others with wholeheartedly, or to deal with the situation in a calmer manner than normal. Also forgiving ourselves and realizing that we'll make mistakes, but it's this resolve to every day to try to do something that one day it will work. So never give up, never feel bad, never let this guilt overwhelm you. See yourself as you would see others who are allowed to make mistakes. And with this kind and compassionate attitude towards ourselves and others, put the rucksack on your back and visually come into whatever reality is in front of you, bearing in mind that your attitude creates your reality. And when you're ready, slowly starting to open the eyes and becoming present in the reality. Noticing the objects in the room, noticing the sounds behind us. Dedicating this practice to somebody perhaps who needs some extra strength, who you would wish would listen to other people, or perhaps to yourself who's feeling a bit fragile or vulnerable. Passing on this strength, passing on this compassion, holding them in their mind. I know quite a few people who are ill right now, not with COVID, but other things. So I'm generating all of my good vibes and feelings towards them. And a dedication to all of you who watch my meditations and to comment and send me messages. I really appreciate, even if it's something like that was absolute rubbish and I didn't really get it, it's just, it's nice to know, to feel connected to other people, because I'm really missing that lately. So thank you very much. I appreciate you and your watching and your comments. And I hope you have a very present and